I'm making a very versatile dish, or dishes I should say. I'm actually making a pumpkin cranberry cake that can also be pumpkin cranberry baked donuts, which are such a great treat, or a sheet cake. The reason why I make it this time of year is, of course, it's pumpkin season, everything pumpkin, right? But on Halloween, while I sit out in the driveway in my chair passing out candy, I like to have a little treat for the adults. So this is a way you can really share, and I think you're gonna love this recipe. It's moist. We're using a different type of oil, which I'm gonna highly recommend. I was just talking with another baker in town about trying it for their recipes. So stay with me throughout the hour as we are going to bring you the freshest spices and seasonings to make this great cake. And a big shout out to Quinn Tanini, who came over yesterday and helped me test the recipe. He is a budding chef, and I have no doubt that he'll be someday a rising star in our own community. I'll be back in just a few moments to get started on this great dessert. So I have a stick of unsalted butter, soft, but don't get it too warm. You know, we tend to run and put butter in the microwave, and then it gets a little too melted. It's gonna change the consistency. Now, it's gonna get a little loud here, but I'll speak above the mixer. What we're gonna do is we're gonna add grapeseed oil, which is a bit unusual. Usually we're baking with vegetable oils and things like that, but the grapeseed oil, I read an original recipe in the New York Times, and it called for grapeseed oil. It's a very neutral, light oil, and I have found it works really, really well. So I'm very excited about that. So now let me turn that off for a minute because I'm gonna have to scrape down. This is why baking with kids is so much fun, because they can help with things like this. Even at a small age, just make sure they keep their fingers away, but they can use this spatula, and of course, once it has all the goodness that can lick it. So we're gonna do some organic light brown sugar. Now, people often ask me, I only have dark brown sugar in the house, can I use it? It honestly depends on the recipe, because that's the part that has the molasses in it, so it changes the consistency just slightly. It's more of the dark color, but just so you know. So we're gonna give this a whip, then we're gonna add 2 eggs, one at a time. Bring the speed up a little bit more. And here comes number 2. Okay, 2 eggs are in it. We're gonna add a teaspoon of vanilla. Oh, and it's gotta be pure vanilla extract. Oh, the aroma, I just love it. But at this time of year, I'm gonna buy the big bottles and vanilla paste because I'm gonna use it so much. So again, we're gonna turn this down. Now, like a lot of recipes call for pumpkin puree. I'm using pumpkin pie filling, an organic brand. I buy it over at the Fresh Market because this is gonna make it even creamier. You can see it's a little bit looser than just buying plain old pumpkin puree. So now we have this pumpkin pie filling. This is gonna get mixed, and then we'll start working on our dry ingredients, okay? So our dry ingredients are flour, and don't worry about the quantity because you're going to get the recipe on mysuncoast.com/dining. So we have 2 cups of flour, a teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of baking powder, and 3/4 kosher salt. So I'll mix this up, get ready, and then we'll talk about the glaze when I come back in just a few minutes. It's going to be tasty Halloween time. So you can either make this cake by using a 13 by 9 inch pan, and I have the molasses cream cheese frosting on top. So let me just show you what ingredients go in that, then I'll whip it when we go on break. So I have soft cream cheese and a 1/2 stick of unsalted butter, and then I'm gonna add 1½ cups of confectionery sugar. I always get the 10X, it's gonna be lighter, a teaspoon of lemon juice, and then we're gonna do some more vanilla extract, and we're gonna whip that around. I usually, when I'm looking at recipes, I usually cut down the confectionery sugar no matter what the recipe says. I really want to taste the cream cheese in this and not have it too sweet. Plus, we're adding a tablespoon of molasses. So it's going to give you that thick color, but it's also going to give you almost like not a tart, but a deeper flavor. If you don't have molasses at home, just use pure maple syrup and that'll be fine, but do make sure it's pure. So we can whip this up. You can even do it by hand to make the frosting, but I just wanted to give you an idea for right now. Let's go back to the batter. So we had all the dry ingredients. We added off break ginger, ground cloves, a little nutmeg, and cinnamon. So you can imagine this cake is somewhere between a gingerbread cake and a pumpkin cake. So what I have are these little round pans to make baked donuts. So I'm gonna put them in here, and this is what I got up this morning and I said, you know, I gotta make them as donuts because that's gonna be fun for the adults to get them. The kids probably don't care. They're getting their chocolate, right? So we're gonna get our fix in. And you'll notice the fluffiness of the batter. And that really relates to that grapeseed oil that we used, which I think is a real treat. Now, if you wanted to, you could add some chopped pecans or walnuts and make it even more special. So this, if you're using a small baked donut pan like this, they're only going to go in the oven for about 15 minutes. Test them. You can just, you know, push on them and you'll know. If it's going to be a pan, then you're definitely going to want to use your toothpicks. I also use loaf pans, and the mini loaf pans are great because you can give a gift to a lot more people. So come back in a few minutes. We'll frost a few up for John Scalzi and Scott Dennis and show you how the finished dish looks.
Back in the kitchen with Judy, and I'm so impressed with the grapeseed oil. My gosh, that works great.
It does. It makes it so fluffy. It's almost like you used applesauce. So we've made it in many different varieties as a sheet cake, as our donuts, and I made the frosting. It's that molasses or maple syrup, cream cheese, and then I dotted it with some cranberry chutney to go on top. If you don't like frosting, that's me. Even though I love cream cheese, I'll just put a little dab of the chutney in the middle, and that's going to serve perfectly. And of course we made it as loaves as well, so lots of different varieties. And John, just at the end, I just take some of that beautiful cinnamon sugar from the Spice and Tea Exchange and sprinkle that on top, and boom, holiday is ready.
Man, how good is that? The recipe is on our website, mysuncoast.com. Click on the dining link page and the video instructions will be there, as well as your shopping list and personal tips from Chef Judy as well. Thanks, that's really tasty. That's good stuff.
Enjoyed it. Bring a
makes me
slice
feel real
home
fall.
for your wife and your mom.
Okay, you got it.